that's kind of what I've been doing, just soul searching that. But then also from the business standpoint, we've also done that, breaking it all back down because we realized that we just tried to make everything happen too quickly. We treated the business as if we already had made it. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Barcast Season 1.
The Barcast.
It's like a podcast, but at a bar. Get it? What's up, man?
Break it down for me. Barcast, baby.
The Barcast. So we decided that we were going to just make this episode whatever the hell we wanted it to be about.
Yeah, well, we want it to be uncut, raw, and I think we need to go to where we started, which was before the Barcast existed, just talk about what's going on. Because I haven't talked to you. We haven't really talked in general about all the shit that's going on. Good and bad. New Year hasn't actually started out solid for me, at least. But I've also got a lot of stuff on my mind business-wise. So I'll start.
Okay. Yeah.
I was going to say I'll start with you, but then it sounds like we'll start with me. You got to ask me questions. I feel like I'm easier when you ask questions.
That's fine. What makes you think that, or what is it about like all the stuff that you said you had going on? Like what, was there problems? Was there good things that happened?
Yeah. So, my mind goes in a million directions. So there's a million things that I've got on my mind. So I'm actually really surprised at how this year has started off because the end of my year was strong. Yeah. And, we've been doing the 5 a.m. club thing where we wake up before 5 a.m. every day. And that was great. And I've honed in my morning routine. So everything was solid. And so I just expected the new year to just roll. Yeah. And I'm like out of whack. I don't know if it was the travel, the holidays, whatever, but it's only the past few days have I really felt like I'm starting to get back to myself, and I don't even feel totally myself. And I've kind of chalked it up to the more I figure things out and the more I create routine and system, whatever, when I get off of that, the wider the gap and the tougher it is to get back up. It's like I don't know. It's not before I'd fall out of whack and I'd be back into it, but it's takes so much more to get back into that.
It's like when you skip a couple days at the gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny how that trickles down to just about everything else.
When I started my 100 Sweaty Days, so I do 100 days at the beginning of the year. I do 100 days in a row of working out
on IG.
Follow me on IG, Cashier. And so I started the same day this year as last year, which was January 6th. And last year I was super motivated going into it. Yeah. I had a head of steam. It's been tough. It's been a grind. Today I don't even know how I'm going to get it in. I'll get it in. But but everything, it's been just kind of white knuckling all of it. So that's the biggest.
Is there any particular reason why? Can you pinpoint what's going on with that?
I think it's partly lack of sleep.
I was going to say, because, I was thinking maybe it had to do with a lot of the traveling that you're doing because...
Yes, the lack of sleep is because of traveling.
Right.
And so, before New Year's, around New Year's, from Christmas till middle of January, it's almost every weekend. And actually, I do know what it is. I'll take it a step up. It falls back on traveling, but what's really impacted me because of the traveling is I've had zero alone time. I haven't had one day truly to myself where I'm not working, I'm not doing anything, don't have my daughter, and it's 3 more weeks before that even happens. So even thinking forward is kind of stressing me out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just need some me time. I think that's what it is.
I get that. I'm always looking for me time. So what's going on on the business side of things? What's going on in Raleigh?
Raleigh's great. It's crazy how Raleigh just continues to grow in spite of me not trying to get it to grow. So my main client down there,
putting it on cruise control is always nice.
well, my business has always been has always been what's suffered or what's taken a backseat. I don't want to say it's suffered, but my big goal for 2020 is more content.
Yeah.
And more content for like my coaching, my training programs, but also like getting my website up because my model shifted. So getting my website where it needs to be, and just working on my business, right? I think that's every entrepreneur's challenge is like, I need to work on my business, not in my business. And I'm falling victim to it like anybody else. So that's really what's going on with me right now. Raleigh's going great. I have 3 clients. That's going well. And I even have opportunity where like my network's growing and people are coming to me to like try to license my training content.
Oh, wow.
So that's like a really cool opportunity for me potentially to create passive income because I'm already creating content. They just want to be able to use it.
Right.
So like, what the hell? So anyways, all that stuff is great.
That's awesome.
It's going well. And I'm learning a lot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's still premature. You know, I every time I speak something, it never works out.
Yeah.
So I wait until it's like a done deal.
Yeah. I can appreciate that.
So knock on wood with that. But yeah, it's still at the beginning stages.
Where was I headed with this? Oh, yeah.
You're about to talk some.
Did you decide?
Talk some talk.
I was about to talk some talk. So one thing I wanted to ask you, though, was because you came from a background of strictly hospitality, like bars and restaurants, you know, you've been with us for a little over a year, and we are far from that. So it's a little bit of a different animal.
Yes.
What the fuck? And I just kind of wanted to get your perspective on what your journey with us has been so far, considering you kind of joined us, I mean, pretty much from the beginning. I mean, you came in 3 months after we started our business. So
yes.
Are you done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I just wanted to get your perspective on, you know, like how different it's been for you, and has it been challenging? What?
Yeah. How different? It hasn't been different for me. It's been fun. It's challenged me, but in a good way. It's been a really interesting experience. It's made me evaluate my business model.
Yeah.
Because when I started the business, you know, I believe in niching down. And when I started the business, it was hospitality. It was actually training programs. And then through my first client, I realized that coaching is where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually thinking, or what I've been thinking is it hospitality or is it management? Do I want to be a business management coach?
Right.
Which makes a lot of sense because when I was a professor, I taught 3 different subjects, right? I taught intro to business, I taught management, and I taught marketing. And I loved management the most. Like hands down, like that was my favorite class to teach. So there's this real passion for management, this love for management. And it seems like everything keeps taking me to management. But with that said, it's made me evaluate my business because you more brought this to my attention. I didn't come to you saying, hey, I want to work with you. You more asked me to propose to you, which I did. And you said yes.
Oh.
But it also has allowed me to look at some different things. But by the same token, it's also been refreshing because hospitality is not as professional a lot of times. Yeah. And so it's been nice to work with you and Jake and work with people who just get shit done. Yeah. You know, like that's the thing with hospitality. I got to move a lot of things forward, and people, I feel like I'm a pretty intense person anyways, from the sense of like, I'm not intense like yelling, but I'm intense from like, I want to move, I want to go, let's do this.
Yeah.
And in hospitality, I feel like I have to push things all the time. Whereas with you guys, I know that we can that you guys are going to put forth the same effort level, that I can count on you guys to be places, that you have professionalism. And that's really nice to not have to worry about.
What about from like the digital marketing standpoint? Because, I mean, that's all our business is, we're in a digital space.
Yeah, I forget. I sometimes forget that we are. I've learned a lot. Like, I've learned a ton. And with my position being like chief strategy, I started with marketing.
Yeah.
And it's still heavily leaned in marketing, but there's been a lot more that I've overseen, which is where I like to spend my time. I like to move chess pieces and think about that. But that's one of the main reasons why I've been focusing on content for 2020, because I realized, like, this is where I need to be. Like, I need to get better at it. I'm learning more. I'm taking courses just because I think there's a huge opportunity if I can sort of crack the code on this and stay on top of it.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I didn't go into this knowing anything about digital marketing, so for me, over the last, better part of 2 years, it's been a crazy learning experience for me, just from my own YouTube channel. Just looking back from the earlier days, I was on just my laptop with the microphone that it came with, and the camera that it came with as far as the webcam was concerned. And I just was sitting on my couch. That's how I started. And then bringing it all the way up to where it's at now. But not only just the quality of the content that I'm putting out, because content's king. That's one thing that I've always learned. Content's king. Then it comes down to your audio and your lighting, and those, if you can get those down, those are like the biggest things to really kind of focus on when you're first starting out. But now that I'm like, I consider myself a professional creator, and so really just diving deep into like SEO and those long tail keywords, not just throwing out, just because I'm talking about Tesla doesn't mean that I just need to throw out Tesla tags. Like, I need to be really specific and really kind of, like you were talking about, niching down and really getting into what it is that my identity is on my channel. And so that's kind of what I've been doing, just soul searching that. But then also from the business standpoint, we've also done that, breaking it all back down, because we realized that we just tried to make everything happen too quickly. We treated the business as if we already had made it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so we were adding all this stuff, and we've recently had this conversation of just like condensing it all back down and bringing it back down to its smallest form and its most important form, really, which is just the educational piece. So the website's getting torn down to it, a very very basic level of just providing educational material for people who are looking to learn how to invest. And I think that's really going to end up propelling our business so that we can re-expand it and get it back to where we originally wanted it in the first place. But I think we tried to just make it all happen at once instead of taking a step back and realizing, okay, we just got to chew off a little piece at a time.
Yeah. And one thing I was hoping we'd talk about, and I don't want to get really deep into it now, is the topic of alignment. I'd like in a different episode for us to really talk about alignment, because that keeps...
It's going to be a great episode.
Yeah, that keeps coming up in my work, my coaching. I think it's fundamentally one of the keys. We talk about entrepreneurship and like just starting, right?
Yeah.
After that, I think there's 2 or 3 other really important things, and I think alignment's right there. And what I've seen is misalignment. I compare it to, when you're pushing this boulder uphill, or you're pushing this boulder, and if it's misalignment, it's almost like somebody's pushing it back on the other end. Whereas if you're aligned, we're pushing it together.
Yeah.
And I think this is our first opportunity to really get raw and get truthful. I think I told you that numerous times last year. I felt there was misalignment in We Trade HQ.
Yep.
In between us 3.
Yeah.
In that, we said we all agreed, but like, I mean, how many calls did I have with you where I was just like, it doesn't feel like, we're saying the right things, but it doesn't feel like we're aligned. It doesn't feel like we're on the same page. Our actions aren't reflecting our words. And so I think we fell victim to misalignment.
Yeah. And I think it's easy to do, even if you're not meaning to,
Yeah.
Maybe you feel like you understand what that person's saying and misinterpreting, or in our case, I think that, Jake was too afraid to speak up, speak his mind, and
Well, and can we talk about that? I know we said we're going to be more.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Candid. So I believe Jake was misaligned.
Yeah.
With what we had talked about.
Yeah.
And not that we created something. You had an idea, and I agreed with it, right? So it was really your vision of where you wanted the company to go. And then Jake had an idea of this marketplace that had a website that had all the bells and whistles, this marketplace where people can become mentors. And it's really a great vision. Like, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I think people need to understand that there's no right answer. It's not that you need to pick which one is right. No, you need to pick which one you can all agree on and feel strongly about and move forward. Jake's could work. We just have to all agree to move forward.
Yeah.
And does it align with everything else we're doing? But when we started to consider, well, let me stop talking. Let me get back to that. Jake had originally, that's what he wanted. And we had talked to him and kind of asked him to commit to not bringing on any new mentors. And we're just going to focus on our existing mentors. And that was until the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden we turn around and all of a sudden there's new mentors. And so we had discussions about, and we had to have a pretty tough discussion about, all right, what does that mean? And what happened, what does that mean for him? And what do you need to say and what the conversations need to happen and how do we get him back aligned? And we had it heart to heart. But then there was another conversation, which was this conversation, which I didn't even feel like before that resonated with him. I felt like he just said what he thought you wanted to hear.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly what happened, which, and he's starting to realize that that's not the way to go about doing it. And I guess I keep trying to put myself in his shoes or look at it from his perspective. It's we are, people who are older, more experienced, and I think in certain ways we can come off as intimidating, if we're not careful with our words, or maybe he just feels like we're backing him into a corner, so he doesn't want to create drama, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think that his vision can work as well. All we were trying to get him to understand was we got to start small first and then work our way out. We can't just start big.
Well, and then we started seeing pain points with our mentors.
Yeah.
And
that, a lot of that was because we were being distracted because we were just bringing all these other mentors.
That's exactly why. Yeah. And so that coupled with also, we felt like there was a huge opportunity for growth just with your mentorship.
Yeah.
And really when we started breaking it down, I'm surprised it took us that long, because when we started really breaking it down and thinking about our efforts, we realized the answer is pretty simple.
Yeah.
We got to scale back, slow down,
Yeah.
strip it down,
Right.
and really focus, put all our energy together on one focus, which is our mentorships, our education. And now moving forward, we're just focusing on our energy on revenue generating activities or things that lead to it. So if it's a free guide, that free guide in the funnel leads to the course or mentorship or whatever it may be. No new mentors. No, sorry, any new mentors that are interested. You still email us. We'll hold your information.
We'll get back to you at some
We'll
point.
get back to you. But yeah, kind of bring it back to hopefully in the future then add those things to it. But it was showing, the pain points continued to show in our business and the strain. But I'm excited because I finally feel like for once, these conversations, this was the first one I felt like we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And it's not just feeding us lines. It's genuine. It's sincere.
Yeah. And I think when we broke it down to where hey, if we just focus on me for a little bit, not that it's
somehow you found a way to make it about you again.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, and you kind of opened my eyes to this a little bit, and I knew it, but I was trying to not make it all about me in a sense. I was trying not to be so selfish or at least appear as if I was being selfish by focusing on just my own brand. And if you want to hop on this train, you can.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that the other mentors were taken care of, or at least felt like they were being taken care of. And I realized that by doing that, my own mentorship suffered. And then, it actually ended up making the other mentorship suffer as well, because what you brought to my attention, there was two things. One of them was we have to work excruciatingly hard for it to pay off, to work that hard for our mentors. Not that bringing in that revenue wouldn't help, with the business, but we have to work like 3 or 4 times as hard to get the same result from just focusing on myself. And it's not to say that we don't want the other mentors with us, because we think that that's just going to make our community stronger. But if we can figure out a system for me, then, and we just apply that system to the other mentors, that's when, the real success happens.
Everybody wins.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where we figure out the system that works for me. And in that meantime, 100% of that cash is going right back into the business, as opposed to only, a percentage of it. And, and it was weird that it was kind of an eye-opening, experience, but, and I knew it all. It was kind of one of those things where I knew it all along, but I was too afraid to make others within our business feel slighted. Yeah. Like I was trying to make it all about myself.
Well, and when you looked at where I arrived at, it was just looking at the pain points. And when we looked at the pain points that kept coming up, one of the pain points was we all felt overworked.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, we're adding more people, we're adding more tasks. Like, how do we not feel overworked? Well, we scale back what we're doing.
Yeah.
We were all doing different things. Like, we were all focusing on different things. Well, then what if we focus on the same things? Like, if we're doing less, we can focus our energies together, and how much could we move forward? And then, like any business, cash flow is super important. Yep. And it's been a struggle, right? And so I think that this will have a trickle-down effect. But then we had the biggest pain point, which was, it wasn't even the biggest thorn in our side, was the bugs on the site. And as we added more, other things started happening, and Jake's already overwhelmed. And so it's what we wanted to do was we wanted to throw money at it. We wanted to add more people, right? And that, I just read The Power of Broke by Damon John. I just actually finished the book, but he talks about this. He talks about how usually when times are tough, and you have to become creative, those are the best times. Those are when your business gets stronger. Whereas if you had money and you just throw money at things, you're not fixing anything. You're just patching holes up, and it'll bring it down eventually. But I'm glad we stuck to our guns and decided okay, let's scale back. And my comment to you was, what if we had started today? What would the website look like? Or what would we talk about? We just focus on you.
Right.
And it's the whole adage, slow is fast, fast is slow. By us slowing down, when we're ready, we can hit the ground running. Yeah. And so we were suffering, our community was suffering, our mentors were suffering, everybody was suffering. And so my hope is, because nothing's guaranteed, my hope is that by scaling it back and really hammering it out and doing it right and presenting a great product, that will only grow, and it'll be the foundation with which we can build and grow We Trade HQ down the road.
Yeah. And after we had that conversation, and even with Jake, it was man, I feel really pumped right now.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the direction we need to go into. And it was really awesome because one of our other mentors, Cameron, actually expressed interest in helping us out with that. And even after telling him, hey, and it was affirmation or confirmation, however you want to phrase it to me, where he was I even told him, I said, listen, it's got to be about me for right now. And because just to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory. So Cameron's another one of our mentors. He came to us saying, hey, listen, I really want to help grow We Trade HQ, and I really want to be a part of this. And so then it was this is kind of all happening. It was planets were aligning, or this is meant to happen. So I said, okay, this is our plan. It's going to have to be all about me for at least the first 90 days, we help bring you on. And it was he was okay, and it wasn't even he gave any pushback. I explained it to him. He understood where I was coming from and how it all makes sense. But in the long run, it ends up helping him out too. So he understands that if we can get this down for me, myself, and then we can just copycat it all the way down.
And
it becomes automatic.
What's really cool is you just showed how alignment works, right? The conversations are so much easier when you have clear vision and alignment. And it was easy for him to be on board because there was no other option.
Right.
Right? Like, this is what's going on. He's like, cool, makes sense. Our justification has to be there, and I think our reasoning is sound.
Yeah.
But just the way I wasn't there, but how you're making it sound was it was a non-issue. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't.
There was no pushback. No,
yeah. So it seems like he's going into this aligned. Now, does he benefit? Absolutely, he benefits
100%.
with this. But he understands what the objective is, and moving forward, there's no ambiguity. And it, again, allows one more person to get behind this boulder and for us to push. A year from now, we've talked about it. I think that that's going to be the turning point for us, and that we're gonna take it to the next level.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
2020 is level up year.
Yeah, I agree. For this Barcast too, we've already leveled
for
up.
Everything. Like, for everything.
Well, I think that is a good place to stop. Just wanted to thank you guys again for the support that you've been providing for us, and just making the switch to our own very own channel, and just, continuing to just watch. The fact that you're just giving us your time, it's definitely appreciated. And if you're joining us for the first time, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to this for more content like this.
And remember, if you don't drink Jack,
you're an ass.
You're an ass.